Hey guys, okay. As you can hear, I'm still not 100%. Welcome to Punky's Pro Wrestling. I decided not to do, there we go, the last episode of Dark Side of the Ring. But I do have some wrestling news, but I'm going to call it wrestling updates because they're updates to news stories. It's not new news. John Laurinaitis has settled with Janelle Grant and agrees to help her against Vince McMahon and give evidence. McMahon is screwed. Of course, they didn't disclose the amount he settled for or anything, but he just wants to get back to his life. And so, I mean, he already lost his wife, which was the Bella Twins' mother. Things like that. So, oh, I got it. Okay. So like I said, Vince McMahon is screwed. He should just settle and call it a day, but he's not going to. I don't think Vince McMahon has the physical funds to settle anyway. I think his assets are tied up in stocks, holdings, physical stuff. I don't think he has liquid cash. I could be wrong, but this is new news for the channel, but it's not new news. But there is an update. Jim Ross has been diagnosed with colon cancer. He did have surgery, and he was pretty confident about it. And they did get it all. He had skin cancer removed and a malignant tumor on his hip in the past. So, actually last year. The skin cancer was either last year or 2023. Which fortunately was basal cell, which is very easy to remove and is routinely removed by the dermatologist in very basic procedures. And I have another update on the Sabu situation. RVD has been talking about it little by little on his podcast because that was one of his best friends, and he's going through a process, of grieving, of questions, things like that. And so he's opening up. He's venting. And he talked to him, I believe, the day before he died. And he told RVD, Sabu did, that he couldn't hear, and I spelled hear wrong, out of one ear. And RVD knew he had a bad infection underneath his tongue, in his mouth. And he told RVD he was going to the hospital after going grocery shopping. And he must have changed his mind. In a new documentary that's coming out about Sabu, he talked about not feeling well. That's when he talked about the infection underneath his tongue. and he mentioned something wasn't right. This was filmed days before his last match, and it was right after his last match that he came home and wasn't feeling right. This is all extremely sad and more reason we need an autopsy. RVD said his death even could have been an accident due to medications he was on, and he did use the word medication. He did not use the word drugs or anything like that. So maybe he was on antibiotics for his tongue. I don't know. Well, underneath his tongue. I don't know. He probably should have brought that to the attention of a dentist or an ears, nose, and throat surgeon, someone who could see if it was cancer. Because it very well could have been. But he went home after grocery shopping, went to bed, and never woke up. So, I don't know why, with all these circumstances, that the coroner hasn't ordered an autopsy, regardless of what Hitomi has to say. But that's just my opinion. And I think RVD's struggling, and you know what? That's okay. It's okay to struggle when you lose your best friend as a young person. You lose your best friend at all, but especially as a young person. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to have questions. And I'm glad he has an outlet where he feels safe enough to talk about it. You know, with his fans on his podcast. I don't listen to his podcast because I don't care for RVD. I feel bad for him right now. But I don't like the way he presents himself. I've said that before. I think he's a little full of himself, and I just don't like it. And I'm not talking about on screen. Even when he's just talking, as Rob, I don't like it. But everybody has their own opinions and are entitled to them. Doesn't mean, like I said, that I don't feel bad for him and what he's going through and the little answers that he's got. I can empathize, actually. I don't know if I told you on this channel or not, but I lost my best friend in March. And there was no autopsy. So that there's no and I wasn't allowed to go to his services. There's no finality, there's no closure, there's no answer as to what happened in his case to his 60-year-old friend, in my case, my 51-year-old friend. There's no answer. And that's hard. That is so hard. So I do completely, not just sympathize with him, empathize with him, because I feel the same way. What's the answer? And I had a family who didn't want to know the answer in my situation. And it's awful to be in that situation. So I will see you over on Punky's World. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Tomorrow will be the last day of May's videos over on Kid Missing. And I gotta figure out what we're gonna do once a week on this channel to keep things moving along. I want to get to 30, and my next goal will be 50 subscribers. Over on Punky's World, we're close to our goal of 300, and on Kid Missing, we're close to our goal of 500. So please check those out and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.